Welcome back to Breaking Barriers. I am your host, Brisa de Angulo, and I am joined by a very interesting person, Steve Hasenmueller. He is a sales trainer, and we are very honored to have you today in the show.
Thank you very much.
It is absolutely wonderful to learn more about what you do. One thing that I love is that your sales trainer goes beyond just what is work, but what you do with that. And I would absolutely love about what you do and what would you like to share about your work?
Well, you spend your career trying to be successful, right? When I talk about career, I mean young. You're 30, 40 years of major work, go. Then you get to be 60 or older, and it's like, okay, now what,
Yes.
And I had read a book by a guy named Bill Perkins called Die With Zero. I don't know if you are familiar with that. But anyway, what he's talking about is like, hey, if you can help people now, help them now.
Yes.
Use your resources, help people now. If you can help your family, help them while you're alive, not when you're dead. Stop trying to pile up money to just die with it and make things count. So thinking about, okay, I'm 60 plus now, non-traditional work. What do I enjoy doing? Training and speaking to try to help guys like me when they were 25 years old, didn't know, want to do good, but don't know how, right? Mm-hmm. I can shorten the curve. It took me 40 years to figure it out, right? But shorten the curve for everybody. But then, so what? Why do I want to get up? I'm not trying to make a second career.
Right.
But I did, we are based, didn't really retire, but we moved out of the country to Belize, Central America, Placencia, Belize. It's paradise. So that's where we're based for all of our travels. And so, but I don't want to make a second career, but I want to help. So a developing country needs a lot of help, right? So what we've ended up doing is that the money my company generates, we invest in the youth of Belize by paying for scholarships. They have to start paying for school in 7th grade, and it's a devastating amount for the average person. Is a very bright country, very smart people that need a chance. And yes, without education, that's it. You don't have a chance. There's no opportunity, right?
Absolutely. That's amazing because not only are you with your private business helping people in this process, but by helping them, you're helping those who don't have the possibility. And like you said, if there is no education, it kind of becomes this unfair that because I didn't have the money, I can't go to my fullest potential. And what you're doing is giving these people the opportunity to say, I have a chance in life.
Right. And these are the hardworking kids. I'm aligned with a 506c out of Oregon called Full Basket Belize. These are a great group of people who were ex-Peace Corps. From the old days, 70s, 60s, 70s, and with a heart for the country. And so I asked them, even as we were, providing scholarships, we provide over a scholarship a month. Is there anyone who doesn't deserve it who makes an application? They said no. So there's more applications than we can fund. So how well I do, you're right. It's education through education.
Right, exactly.
Right? And the people that pay me for their sales training, they tell me, I don't care what you do with the money. Like that means nothing to them. It's like, you got to deliver the goods for us, then you do what you want. So, and that's the way it should be. So it gets me out of bed in the morning, and how many scholarships, which my goal is 1,000 before I die, how many scholarships can I deliver? Well, it just depends on how well I can do in my others. So
that is so cool because even for the person who's paying for the service, they know that not only are they getting the wisdom and the support and everything, but they're changing someone else's life.
Whether that means anything to them or not, it's still happening. It's the reality.
Yep. And to think like, especially as you grow older, it's like, what is the impact that I've done? And without knowing, I've been helping all this.
Right. And people always say if I helped one person, it was worth it. And actually, that's kind of the right philosophy. I mean, it's like,
exactly.
Wherever it is, if it's 1, if it's 10, at least it was that. So anyway, that's, as an old person now, that's what I'm trying to accomplish.
That is absolutely wonderful. So before we dive in, I would love to know more about you, and I would love our listeners to know more about you beyond your title and your work.
Well, we were talking briefly before this. I was asked 25 years ago, who are you? And besides my title, National Sales Manager for this company, I didn't really have anything to say. So I do think about that, and I try to live. So even if this sounds a little, I don't know, woo-woo or whatever, But I truly believe this, and I try to live it every day, what I get up and do, is I'm here to serve. It's not about me. And you know what? It is about me sometimes, but I'm just trying to remember that. It's not about me. How can I help others? What can I do? And so I'm doing that. So it helps me say, hey, it's not about you, dude. Go get up, go do something. I'm here to inspire. Jim Rohn said that our lives can be held up either as an example or a cautionary tale. Right? I don't want to be a cautionary tale. I want to be an example going, hey, there's just one guy. I'm a rank and file sales guy, nothing special, right? There's a guy who did something and had an impact in the world, right? So I want to inspire others to do their best, whatever that means for them, right? Whatever their path is. And I'm here to love. Maybe there's not enough love in the world. A couple of years ago during COVID, I was quoting, there was like 2,600 people who were zip tied because they were angry on a plane. We're so, there's just so much angst and, anger and anxiety. It's like, man, just love, whether it's you, whether it's the girl at Starbucks, whether it's my family and friends, whether it's complete strangers. What can I do not to make anything worse for anybody else, right? And from those things, however I can, work at them, figure out how to live my own truth. Because we all have our own truths. We got to figure out what that is.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one thing that you bring out in this conversation is that the importance of not living for the approval of others and to satisfy all the you should, but like, how do I get connected with who you are? And I do truly believe that we are all love, but society has kind of put people in jail where their way of interacting and their aggressiveness, and how beautiful that at the end of your life, when people look back, it's like, this is a person that made me feel loved. This is a person that inspired me.
Hopefully, yes.
And what a beautiful legacy.
Thank you. That's what I'm aiming towards, right?
Right.
But I do have this, when we talk about, the conflict and whatever, you have to stick with me on this one. I have this whole philosophy on unity. On two different things that have to exist together, and that we have to be aware of these, because this is where people get bogged down. And I'm talking to salespeople, and they're looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" I want to know how to close a sale. Like, okay, here's how you do it right here. Let's talk about this. Because opportunity creates anxiety. And so we have this anxiety and we're trying to get rid of it, but that's not the point, right? So because opportunity, do I do something, do I don't do it, right? So there's this internal tension, and that's okay, because that opportunity is triggering. Here's the clever part of this. The word unity is in every word I'm going to give you, right? So opportunity, there's this unity of do something, don't do something. What do? I don't know, because it triggers uncertainty. Unity's in there, right? Uncertainty, known, unknown. We don't know. This might work, this might not, or we don't know. But, so there's a tension, right? Because that triggers our vulnerability. Nobody wants to be vulnerable. I saw a great quote, I think it was Brene Brown, who said, vulnerability is what we want from someone else,
right.
Not for ourselves, but that vulnerability of honesty and fear. There's an internal tension there, because that is impacting our authenticity.
Yes,
I always say authenticity is a superpower, but that is so easy to say and easy to nod your head. Yes, it's the most difficult thing to do in this world. Yeah. The world is trying to force you into compliance, and yet you're this own individual DNA, 300 billion people, or whatever. So that's very hard. Yeah. So it's authenticity, fake and real. What's fake and real? Which makes me vulnerable, which is uncertain, right? Because then my authenticity is my humanity.
Yeah.
Unities and all this, right? Myself and others. What do I do that's me? There's too much of the me. But then there's also others. So where's that tension? How do I navigate that tension of humanity? And this is a big thing for me, because I've seen a lot of sales guys in my life that it's not that they weren't skilled at their work, but they burned out, blasted out, whatever. They didn't make it because their personal lives blew up or whatever, for whatever reason. But then because of sustainability, how do we finish strong? Yeah. How do we finish strong? And that's short-term, long-term. I got to make decisions and do things daily, short-term, long-term. For the very last one, unities and all this, is profundity. What gives my life meaning? And then that dynamic tension is amusement and meaning. We need them both. I ask people, what do you do for fun? And they tell me, and I say, what gives your life meaning? The answers are never the same, right? So I can't just do one or all the other either, but all those. So my point is that there's going to be anxiety. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. That means there's growth. Growth means anxiety. Because if you ignore that and you try to opt out, right? I'm going to tap out and I'm going to go with what I know, and I'm not going to do anything uncertain, and I'm not going to be vulnerable. you will be depressed. And that's why the world, there's a huge amount of depression, because if you're not growing, you will have depression.
Right.
So you can either have anxiety or depression. That's it. That's the only two choices in life. So when you say that and go, hey, I'm kind of anxious, I don't know if it's going to work, you should say, great.
Right.
That means I'm on track.
Exactly. And it is kind of, how do we use this energy inside, like the energy of anxiety, to like put us down, or see it as this challenge of like, this is an opportunity for me to grow and to learn more about me and go to the next step.
Yeah.
And that takes courage. And something that you mentioned that I absolutely love and stand for is that the importance of authenticity. And for that, you have to be real with your pain, and you have to live in your humanity and allow others to see the things that you've tried to hide. But those things that you try to hide is actually what is going to make you shine, because that's who you are. And despite all the pain and the brokenness, you can shine. And that gives other people the permission to be authentic. And so by leaving this, we're not only like doing it for ourselves, but we are opening the paths for others to also live it like that.
I agree. Are you authentic?
I try every day.
Is it hard?
It's very
That's
hard.
the thing. I'm saying, we sit here and say it like, yes, like it's so easy for us. It's
no,
not.
it's
Every day,
not.
it's like, I have no idea. This is going to work
Right.
or not. I don't know if I should do this. Don't do this. Like, say this. Don't say that.
Right.
Be the real me. Believe me, most people don't want to see the real. The other thing about authenticity is just because of how you are doesn't mean you have to remain as you are. So like, even if the Steve, the jerk, younger Steve, impatient, smart aleck, I don't have to remain that way. Even if that's authentic, that's not working, right? Become a better person, become a better member of society. So
I love that. So can you share a personal moment where you had like a breakthrough, either mentally, emotionally, situationally, that got you to where you are right now?
Well, yes. I mean, first of all, and this is whether I don't even like to say, I've only mentioned this one time in a course, and it was an exercise in vulnerability, because I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to tell you this, right? But in 2010, I was 49 years old. And so I think I'm a smart guy, working hard my whole life, think I'm a good guy, whatever. All my best thinking, best information, lifelong reader, lifelong learner, whatever. I'm in a 10-year court case, possibly the dumbest court case in the whole world, that I lose, that once again was a travesty of justice, but you don't expect that. I lose everything. Everything the world values, I lost. Gone. Wow. Money, resources, everything gone. And so that is a dark moment, right? But see, the thing is, I lost what the world values, but see, I valued them too. I valued them too. Mm-hmm. What I didn't lose, love and support my wife, love and support friends, love and support colleagues. So then from that, so it's like that. It's like, okay, this didn't work. This is terrible. You talking about uncertainty? You talking about vulnerability? You talk about, I don't even know. I'm 50 years old. Yeah. That's when you're 50 years old, scary. Right? When you're 63, 50 is not old. But when you're 50 is old. I was 50, 49, 50. So we moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's a change of pace and beautiful. And my wife always wanted to live there, so we just went there. It didn't matter where I live, where I work. I work internationally. And so I had read something that said, if you're going through tough times, whatever, volunteer. Go do something for someone else. So as soon as I got to Santa Fe, I went and volunteered to this organization called Kitchen Angels. And they made food for people with either Meals on Wheels didn't cover you, or you had food allergies or weird, no shell, no whatever. Whatever, they would give you, if you need food, they bring it to you. If you had knee surgery, we would bring you food. So where I went wasn't necessarily poor people, but the majority was. And I saw terrible things. So I was a substitute driver. Whenever I was in town, I traveled 50% of the time, I would go and deliver. So this started formulating a lot of things about sustainability and everything. Because what I saw was a lot of people living in motel rooms, living in terrible conditions, broke, sick, and alone. Broke, sick, and alone. Now, those people did not plan to be broke, sick, and alone. Yeah. They did not plan on it. But they didn't plan not to. So it was a breakthrough moment in the sense of what you really got to work on, the principles of your life, taking care of yourself physically, diet, exercise, sleep, mentally, reading, writing, learning, spiritually, ethics, generosity, and reverence for life. Relationally, the Harvard studies and all that, when people look back on their lives and they're like, relationships, all that matters. And then financially, you have to take care of yourself. You can't be crazy, right. You have to. So when we ignore any of those, it's like the second law of thermodynamics, whatever you don't focus on gets worse. Then I end up broke, sick, and alone, or whatever. It's because I let that go, even if I was working really hard on my work or doing well there. So there becomes this balance of, man, it's these life principles in addition to being really and working on my work, value-based aspect of that. And I made more progress between 50 and 60 in all areas than I did between 20 and 50. And there's nothing I did that I couldn't have done then, but I didn't know. So my goal is to bring, that no, or to help that no now.
That is
and cut the curve, shorten the curve for everybody else.
Yeah, that is so cool. To be able to put those nuggets of wisdom of say, okay, this is how I got there. You don't have to like try and error and do all these things and then figure it out. It's like, I've already figured it out. Let me share it with you. And that is absolutely. And so how can they reach to you and like find?
Right. So I have a long way of giving you my email primarily.
Okay.
I'm for sales guys, I'm like distraction and social media is kind of one of the obstacles you got to overcome. So I don't have this long list of you can't find me in a lot of places. But I say we have to break everything down to the basics too. So my 3 basics. It's always progress, not perfection, right? It's like nobody's ever risen there, but you get there a little bit every day. Drip, drip, drip. Progress. Just make progress. Everything compounds.
1%.
Compounds. All right. So my 3 pillars of progress, right, that we all have to start on and to have a conversation with me about anything. We start here and go from there. One is that anything worth achieving requires effort. Right? You're going to have to put in some effort. Yeah. And there's no shortcuts. There's no hacks. Forget that. I hate that word, hacks or whatever. Forget all that. You got to put in the reps. The people that you see that are successful, they have to put the work in. The hardest working people are the ones that achieve the most. And then they have to work twice as hard to stay there. Mm-hmm. Right? So anything's going to require effort. Today's the most important day of your life, right? Sounds like rah-rah, yes. But what can you do about yesterday? True. And what tomorrow is uncertain at best. Right? So today, what can I do today? What little bit can I do today in any area? And then the last one is every day is a presentation. Right? So if you had to give presentations are meant to inform, persuade, inspire, or motivate, right? That's what a presentation by nature is. Well, I'm saying that we have to do that for our whole lives, for our wives, for our spouses, for our coworkers. Not just I gave a presentation at work and so I dressed nice that day and I got a good night's sleep and I ate well and I, thought about what I was going to do and became smarter to try to convey my message. Every day is a presentation. When I get up, how I look, how I speak, how I talk, and that's accountability. But so my effort today on my presentation is what's going to get me where I need to go. So my company is called Effort Today Enterprises. So I am Steve at effort-today.com. So Steve at effort-today.com. I'm on LinkedIn under my name. I do have a YouTube channel called Steve Hasenmueller Sales, but they're just little clips explaining like unity, explaining values-based, explaining life principles, my concepts of what's going to give you that sustainability or whatever. It just breaks that down as another resource for that information.
I love this. One of the hardest part of someone who wants to succeed and do that is that they see the end goal and they think that they need to reach the end goal tomorrow. Right. And so what happens is they try to exercise, try to change diet, try to do all these things, and then they fail and they're like, okay. And what is so important of what you're saying is that it is a 1% thing. Just be a little bit better. And it's easy to be 1%. I can do that. I can do 1 more minute. I can do 1 more step. I can do 1 more thing. But in 100 days, you will be 100% better than you were.
No doubt about it.
And so how important it is, this part that you mentioned of having this, that every day is the most important. From the moment that you wake up.
Make your bed. There's science behind that.
Yes.
I only say that out loud now because I stopped saying it for a while. I said, surely everybody makes their bed. No, I always ask people grown up. It's like, no, I don't. It's like, oh my God, there's science behind it. It's like,
there is.
I don't know how to even help you if you don't make it. So that's one thing you can start right there. Exactly. If you don't, you can do it right now.
That's a 1%
Believe me.
thing.
That's exactly right. And then you'll never be.
And it's so cool because, and be intentional. Every single thing that you do has to take you to the person you want to become. Because you can have a mentality, one day I'm going to do this, but if you're not walking the walk, and it's hard. It's hard to wake up early, it's hard to go exercise, it's hard to be presentable, it's hard to do all this. But if you do it, you're walking toward the best version of yourself, and it's so rewarding to live
and
there.
the way I articulate that is that's where in our work, our daily life, we become values-based. And our values being perseverance. We don't quit just because it got hard.
Yes.
We don't quit because I didn't lose 5 pounds this week. We don't quit, right, because it's hard. That we are accountable. That's a big one there is like accountability. I don't know if you know a guy named Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL, who wrote the book called Extreme Ownership.
Yes.
Now, he's way up here. But wherever we are, somewhere in between him, it's just accountability for everything we do, good, bad, and different. It's on me. It's not. I'm not going to blame anybody ever for anything. Diligence, a consistent, thoughtful effort. Drip, drip, drip every day. Discipline. It's going to take some discipline. Discipline is not a bad word. It's like what you do to learn something.
Exactly.
And then the last one's integrity. But with accountability and integrity as your base values, those other ones will come. But then you can do it because I'm not going to blame anybody.
Right.
Right? And I'm going to operate out of integrity. Because between the values and the life principles, I can get clarity. I always think as I get older now that making good decisions really is our goal. If we can get to that point where we can see clearly and make good decisions, but we can get clarity. And from clarity, we can overcome any barrier. Yeah. If you have clarity of mission based on, value-based and principled.
That's absolutely wonderful. And I think a lot of people who are listening today will go into YouTube or Google and look you up. And thank you for sharing this knowledge with the community and saying, you know what, I can't leave this world with, these gems that I found that took me so long, but I just want to share them. And thank you for also being so open to healing others in the process and being there for others. And, what people don't understand is when we serve without any intentions of getting anything back, it is the most rewarding, satisfying thing. I always tell people, if someone offers me a $10 million job, there's absolutely no way I'll take it because there's nothing in this world that can give me that joy of knowing that my life had an impact on someone else.
You start to get a glimpse of what's possible. Just a little glimpse for a moment of oh my gosh, there's something new I didn't know about. And then a little bit more, you go to another level and you get a glimpse of something else and then you eventually get there. Yeah.
So if you are struggling out there or you want to learn a whole new world that is out there, reach this guy and look him up. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing this with us and for being with us today. It has absolutely been a beautiful pleasure just listening to you and learning from you. And I will certainly be looking you up.
Thank you, Brisa.
Thanks for having me.